Good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us again today for another episode of Coffee and Compliance. This series will be live every Thursday morning at 9:30 GMT to answer any questions you may have about the EU deforestation regulation, or EUDR as it's named. I'm Holly Waters-Marsh from Urban Fox Marketing. I'm speaking to Swapan today, the CEO of Deeplai, to answer your questions in relation to EUDR and how the Timber ID platform can be your solution. Today, we're focusing on importers and what they need to know to comply, and we will be covering as your what documentation importers must collect and verify at the transaction level, how non-EU companies can access incredible, traceable, and verifiable information, and the key actions needed to ensure due diligence is must to avoid non-compliance. We'll start with these questions, but please do post any questions that you have to us so that we can answer them as well. But first, let's talk about EUTR. So the EU timber regulation, which is currently in place, and which EUDR will still replace when it comes into force. So here is my first question to you, Swapan. First, let's talk about EUTR. What is the biggest concern for companies currently under EUTR, and how will that change, replace when it comes into force? So here is my first question.
Yes. So UTR
biggest concern
in the forestry and in the wood industry, everybody is aware of since 2013. Yeah. So it was launched many years ago, and the main focus was to bring to the EU market legal timber. Mitigate risks of any illegality and receive really the right materials to EU, and then process that timber. It took many years, and during that period, obviously, we could observe that companies step by step were getting compliant with the EU processes. Once EUDR was on the table, it was decided that EUTR will be replaced by EUDR. Yeah. So as we know, EUDR is covering other commodities, not only timber, and EUTR was timber specified. So under EUDR, our obligations are wider, as we know, especially on the geolocation part. We need to gather all reliable and verifiable information, which will secure the proof and the source of the timber. And one of the obligations is related to have a satellite imagery analysis report of the forest plot with the reference dates of December 2020, year after year, that we're sure that the material which was sourced at this particular subplot is free of deforestation or year degradation, as well. No indigenous issues are in this particular this place. I will put it this way. So just to make a short summary, what is the change? We're now talking about EUDR, which is on the transaction level. So we need to gather and verify all the information on transaction levels. We need to have our due diligence statement number placed on the import duty application form. And once we're bringing the material or the first operator, so we have the high responsibility of checking all the due diligence that it is run in the appropriate way. Application.
Well, fantastic. So I think you've covered off most of the points of the second question there, but just to clarify a little further, how and in line with our topic today, how does that affect the importer directly? So I think you've covered up most of the points of the second question there, but
yes. So
a little further, how and
obviously the importer is cooperating with his supplier. The supplier could be a producer, the supplier could be also an honest owner, a sawmill. So all depends who is the supplier, and this is determining the level of the documentation we need to gather. So sawmill EUDR is allowing here that our supplier will submit a DDS statement with all the documentation which is required in traces. So system. He needs to obtain a AORI number, that is a number of a company in EU. And if this number is placed and registered, the company is, so all the documentation can be really done by this supplier. But this is a technicality of it, because the liability is on the importer. So importer is to see if all the documentation has been gathered in the correct way, if there are no issues around it, and if there are, he needs to address them before he's placing the product on the market. The other way around is that the DDS, import DDS is being placed by the importer himself, and he's gathering the information on his IT system, and then doing the verification is that, and when everything is clear, he will simply receive the DDS number and the information. And here is a bottleneck of what all needs to be done and how to do it. When everything is clear, he will.
Okay, right. So going back to the topics specifically that we want to address, how can non-EU companies prepare credible, traceable, and verifiable information?
Exactly, and this is the I would say essence of the problem, because now under EUTR to come back, we're just familiar with the number of implementations with it. The clients were receiving via WeTransfer or via different other forms a bunch of documentation, maybe 30 megabytes, 50 megabytes, with number of PDF files which they had to analyze, review, eventually approve, or ask for any additional documentation. PDF, if you are doing it in an organized way, you know exactly what categories of documents you will require. You can ask your supplier to deliver the documentation in an organized way. And this is really helping you to get the visibility and transparency in the entire your process. And understanding this, necessarily the clients are moving to the automation part, where the automation really can support them in this processes. Now the question is, how long do we need to gather all this information? And that obviously depends on which product we're importing. It is a timber log, it is lumber, it's veneer, or it is a final wooden product. Is all this information, and that obviously depends.
And again, you may have covered this, but just to go back to those questions, what are the key actions needed to ensure due diligence and avoid non-compliance?
Yes. So I began to
cover this, but just to go back
over that, it's related to the fact that we really now need to define, based on the country of origin, risk assessment and risk mitigation, fact that analysis, which really, as we are recommending, to put it in a origin, it categorizes the structure, and then we know exactly that in this country, this is the set of the documents related to the geolocation, the forest plot. There's a set of documents related to the supplier, because we obviously need also to have the verification of the legality of the supplier, or any possibilities to have it in a also have it, legality to have it as a, let's say, anti-corruption. I mean check. Yeah, have it in the office.
Yeah.
Uh, so,
Great. And then just looking at the subject from more of a different point of view, more from a brand point of view, because obviously I'm a marketer, or even from a consumer point of view and an end user point of view, how can adhering to this regulation, how does that help to create a position in the market and build a brand?
yes, it's very, very important to now understand, yeah, that under the EUDR, once we're submitting it, so DDS on the important items, is, I'm trying always to make it comparisons. It is what we can compare it to the process that we're submitting our monthly tax declaration. Yeah. So basically, we're responsible for the data which is there. So nobody is coming from the tax office every day or every month and trying to find out if our declaration is accurate. Same, it's here. So the bulk of the importance is to have the understanding from where we're sourcing the product. Yeah. I mean, who is our partner from where we're buying, but also until the end of the supply chain. So where the material has been sourced to produce this product, and that's very, very important because in this process we need to do a lot of country specific analysis and get to the point that we really know exactly what is needed. And once we're looking at the complexity of the supply chains, we will understand that this process of gathering the relevant, reliable information, which we can then check, can take time. Yeah. So everybody who is under EUTR knows how difficult it is, how time consuming it is, and now we need really to do it with a more effort, because we need to do it to every transaction. And once we are an importer and we're importing a number of different goods from different suppliers, we really need to think about how do we automate some processes, how do we organize ourselves. We also need to have here in mind that the IT systems can support us in information gathering. They can also support us in some verifications of the completeness, but we cannot use AI to have the confirmation of the authentication. Today it is forbidden by law, so it's still our human obligation to do a check of the documentation that we're really prepared to import this particular product to the EU market.
Yeah. And then if I can just put my viewpoint in there, from, as I say, a marketing point of view, if you have done all of this, if you've been through this process and your supply chain can see that you have done that, then that's going to give you a competitive advantage in that people will think, more highly of your brand. Same with an end consumer. If they can see that a company has been through this process and can track the source exactly as you've just said, that if they're having to choose between two companies, then that could be the difference between the choice. So yeah, that's a great answer. And then one of Timber ID's unique benefits is its decentralized approach. Can you explain that, please, and why that's important to importers in particular?
Yes, I mean that's the heart of the architecture of our approach. we from the beginning, once we were making the decisions to build the architecture of the platform a few years ago, we understood that, especially in the forestry and wood processing, one of the key requirements of the clients is data privacy and data security. Yeah. So how you can achieve it in a complex supply chain? Yeah. And this is the reason why we built the architecture of our platform in a decentralized way. So just to give a simple explanation, every stakeholder in the supply chain is the license owner of the platform. The platforms have the functionality to be connected in a partnership mode. So obviously they need to accept each other to get linked in the partnership mode. So this is allowing to achieve the goal. So everyone is keeping his data privacy and security and sharing only the relevant information. Yeah. So once you're doing it from the first mile, from the bottom of the supply chain until the top, and all the parties are linked in a partnership mode, and all stakeholders are using Timber ID. We're basically securing the process in I would say, a blockchain way, because we're guaranteeing that all the data which is receiving the top of the supply chain can easily be audited downstream. So gathering of audit information is extremely easy and fast. Number two, once the platforms are connected, we are enabling full automation of the data processing. So the human workload is decreased to just minimum. Yeah, we're supervising, we're doing different settings in the system, and we need to do, obviously, as we said a few minutes ago, the manual check of the documentation. Yeah, a human eye, because that is what is required. But that's done only on the audits, and otherwise the entire processes are run fully automatically. And when we think that, in addition, we are having the API connectivity with the ERP systems of the clients, it's also automating the relevant information flow which is required by the EUDR from the ERP systems. Yeah. So if you think about it, this decentralized approach is unique. I think we're the only provider who has architected the platform in this way, and we're really allowing our clients to use the full functionality and automation, and just try to get compliant in a very, very organized and well prepared way.
Brilliant. Okay, and we've talked about lots of different countries that this affects. Obviously, it's not just the EU countries. So, how many languages is the platform available in?
Yeah, that's an excellent question, which we're asked many times. Yeah, so we are today having 18 languages on the platform. So all the global languages, so English, German, French, Spanish, Portuguese, Italian. We have other European languages. We also have Chinese language, and we're adding Hindi. And in the next step, we'll add Vietnamese. So these are the areas where the most of the business is coming from. So once to get back to the decentralized approach and the instances which are in across the entire supply chain, we need to recognize that not everyone in every country is speaking international languages. So, in order to make it very easy and simple to use, the platform is run in the local language. It's I can say from our current projects is especially essential for China.
Okay. Right. And then another question that actually cropped up last week when we were concentrating on SMEs. If somebody is an SME but is also an importer or does import some products, how does that affect them? How does that affect their business?
Yeah, I mean, under the EUDR, the importer is operator. Doesn't matter if he's a SME or he's a non-SME. Can be just one man show. Importer means a full due diligence obligation and needs to provide the process accordingly. Yeah? So the simplification for the SMEs is coming in the next phases in a supply chain. But the first operators, which are the forest owners, which are placing the material first time on the market within EU, or the importers, irrespective of their size, are operators and need to provide this process. It's very, very important to understand. But on the other hand, we began with the topic about EUTR. So there are a lot of importers who understand EUTR and are gathering all this information. So now we're basically helping them to organize it in a better way, handle it in a better way. But I think the core, which is of the importance, is that our platform and the processes which are built in are enabling to secure the proof of the origin of the timber source, and this is the requirement. Yeah, and here is the once again to also emphasize the difference UTR EUDR. Yeah, now we're going to the geolocation. Now we need to have the proof of the source from that geolocation. So it's not only about saying that this supply is coming from this area or was harvested in this area. We need to really have the proof that this supply is coming from this harvest, and this is the difference where we need to get into details and we need to have the relevant information which will secure us to get the right compliance, that we're really sure that this supply is coming from this geolocation.
Okay, thank you. We've got a question here as well. What advice would you give to a UK business? So obviously they're non-EU.
Yes. So first of all, yes, UK is not EU, but a lot of clients who are exporting to EU from EU are being asked to get UDR. Compliance. So many thanks to all the UK. Buyers from EU who don't have the obligation but still feel the necessity of getting compliant. And here it's important from different, I would say, angles we can look at it. Obviously, UK is number one in timber trading. Yeah, so you have a lot of traders, and I could believe that, but partially the products are entering the EU. So they need to gather all the relevant information in order that the EU importers will be compliant, yeah, and will have all what they need in order to bring this material or products to the EU market. So even you are from UK and you are exporting to EU, please be aware that you'll be asked to prepare all the documentation. Yeah, the importer has no other option just to ask his supplier, please deliver me this information. And as I mentioned at the beginning, it's very, very important to have the understanding from which country the material origin is. And we have it really well organized in our platform to support this this understanding and automate the processes. Yeah. So, dear clients from UK, feel free to reach out. We'll be happy to support you.
Fantastic. I've got a question here. Do I still have time to co-apply?
That's a very good question. It depends on your case. Yeah. So our platform you can implement in one day. It's very well prepared and simple to understand, very user friendly. You obviously, if you want to get integration with your ERP system, you need to just keep it in mind that it will take you some time via the APIs which are there to get it all done. But most importantly is to understand your case, understand your sources, and give you then the right recommendation of based on our experience how long time it can take you. Yeah, and it's also very much linked with the awareness of your suppliers. Yeah, so if your suppliers or their suppliers are having the documentation which you will need. Yeah, so one of the basic step to get UDR compliant as an operator within EU, you need to prepare your UDR deployment process. So document which is giving you the guidelines how you will implement the UDR, and here you will find all the answers: mapping of the supply chain, understanding the real case, and then just adopting the platform to the needs.
Great. And then just a final question here. We had the same question last week, actually. How much does it cost?
Okay. Here we're very, very, unique. Timber ID platform is affordable to all. Just please reach out on our offering. So deeplai.com offering. Send us a quotation request. You'll see that you need to just click what is the annual revenue of your company, and you'll get your quotations. So it can be from, I don't know, €1,000 annually to a couple of thousands or a couple 10,000s. Yeah, all depending if you are a 10 million euro company or 1 billion euro company. We're having a flexible licensing model, which is allowing really everyone to afford the Timber ID. And to come back to the decentralized model, that is the reason why we're doing it. That everyone in a supply chain, whatever it is complex, can afford to use our platform.
Fantastic. Okay, so we've come to the end of our session then. Thank you for all your questions. Lots of great answers to questions there as well. So I hope that's been useful for you. Just a quick wrap up then. So we've looked at the EUTR and the differences that the EUDR will bring and the effect specifically on the importer, as that was obviously our subject today. And Swapman's also talked about the impact of the non-EU companies and their responsibilities and the value that that brings to a company from a brand perspective as well, which is a really interesting viewpoint. And of course, we've talked about how Timber ID works and how it's a great platform for importers. So next Thursday at 9:30, we'll be looking at EUDR and the potential delay and what the next steps would be. So that's obviously following the news, which we touched on last week, about a potential delay. So please do share your questions in advance and see you next week.
Thank you.